Hi, welcome to Firestarter Africa. This is our very first inaugural edition, our first edition of this show, where we would like to bring like minded people or even people that do not have like minds. But we welcome today Professor Ndemo. Prof, how are you?
Very good.
And also our host for the interviews, Lisa. We're going to have a casual chat on various topics. But first, we'd have to appreciate for a moment here where we're seated at the residence of the Prof. Thank you for hosting us today. I would like to arrange from a variety of topics of the day, topics of the week, but essentially just to catch up with Prof. Because I think the first order of the day is in the last 1-2 weeks we've had. I think your social media has gone a bit haywire and maybe perhaps in eruption mode. Care to elaborate on the missed calls, or maybe I also possibly have missed-called you, so maybe we can share a little bit on that.
This started some time back when I left the office, and indeed nobody called me the following day, and as soon as I've gotten back to government, people have decided to say that I have now more calls. It is true that many calls came, but some actually may have come to just tease me because of what I had said before.
Right.
But I received so many calls.
It's wonderful.
Yes.
And then how do you know when not to take the call?
You've got to take the calls. I take all my calls. I've never changed my number.
Right.
That's how they got me. So they kept it. They kept it and used it at the right time.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Just thinking about that because the community in Kenya, just on social media and how we can make news go really faster than I think even now I've sort of myself personally I've really neglected watching the mainstream news. I should do more often, but I think we've really gone into that and seen so much more.
Yeah, let me comment on that. You are not alone. I think the phenomenon is across the world.
Yeah.
That traditional media is going through very rough times. Yes. During this time.
Yes.
When social media and other news which are because the attention of young people is very short. And so you can't write like we used to read 2-3 pages of a story.
Yes.
No one would read it now because there are just too many things that we are doing. And you need to say what you have to say within the quickest time possible.
Yeah, I think our viewers and our listeners would like to know, what is artificial intelligence?
Well, the technology is changing such that not all decisions that can be made by human beings. So what is happening is that the artificial intelligence technology would help us make certain decisions that humans ordinarily make.
Yes.
And you ask why, if we are here. There are several things that happen continuously, and they need different decisions to be made very quickly.
Yes.
Right.
And so AI comes in as a result to do that. Let me give you a very basic example so that you understand.
Yeah.
Every one of us uses the phone.
Yes.
We speak different languages, and sometimes you type demo, and the phone writes demo or DEMO instead of NDEMO.
Yes.
If you do it 3-4 times, the artificial intelligence in the mobile learns that when you write or when you say the word in demo,
Yeah.
it is you mean my name.
Yes.
And that aspect, we call it machine learning, where the machine learns like a human being and then is capable of responding.
I think that leads us to our second question. How does it affect me and you?
It affects everybody in so many ways, in the sense that I can take you industry by industry to show you the impact that AI has created, because when you train it, it can remember so many things. For example, in health, if the doctor can, if somebody has had cancer and you have done the X-ray, you want to know quickly whether you have what type of cancer, what stage that you have, because you train a machine with so many of these images. You can give it a million impressions, and from a million impressions it can interpret very quickly and tell you that type of cancer, it is in this stage, we can begin to treat. That it has to go to a radiologist. The radiologist will use another mechanism. So because of artificial intelligence capability to remember and remember millions of data, it can provide us with results very quickly. In the farms, you can fly over your farm and it can pick a disease in the farm that nobody can be able to see, and then you are able to improve on that. In our languages, there is something we call natural language processing. It used to be very difficult before that some of us, you had to speak English to everybody. Now anybody can speak any language as long as the machine has learned and capable of actually responding to that person. That is a game changer. Yeah. Yes.
I think the main concern coming out of all this conversation and reading through a lot of this in the last, of course, many years, because AI has been around for a while, but one of the things I always question is, as much as it helps us be efficient, helps us have better processes, helps us diagnose a problem before it becomes bigger, I see that's a lot of patterns like that. But in the creative side, there's a lot of creative work by our youth in Kenya as well. I also find that how do we drive AI to emerge with creative talents? And this is such a very loose question, but it's almost like, because we're talking a lot about how to be efficient, how to be quick, how to be solving problems. But
how to be productive.
Yes,
it's
productive as well.
Productive is
correct. Yeah. But how to be creative is the other aspect. And I think creativity is another ambiguous yet area where we have to know how do we couple that together with AI. That is another.
You are challenging AI.
Yes, I'm trying to be the devil's advocate here.
There are some things, some things AI cannot do.
Yes.
Like being remorse, being remorseful, emotional.
Yeah. Right.
You can't teach emotional.
Of course.
Like you say, his father died in a plane crash. The machine. Well, you can teach it. It's the moment you say kill and whatever it can.
Right, at that
but
time.
It can't be as it can't respond like a human being.
Doesn't manifest the emotional.
Yeah, it doesn't. So there are some things which we would continue to do as human beings. But there are areas where we need machines
to help
us make decisions.
So I think it goes hand in hand to safely say that the IQ may be increasing on the artificial front, but the EQ will stay with us humans.
The way we say artificial intelligence is necessary, but the natural intelligence is a different thing altogether.
Or instinct, as we sometimes may call it.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome.
Like we make so many mistakes in driving. Motorbikes driving from the wrong side of the road. We may not need drivers.
Because we see a lot of people going from lane 1 to lane 4.
Yeah, so something that is told that if you are driving this way, this is how you should be. Yeah.
My next question, and I think you've answered part of it. How can it help address Africa's economic challenges?
In many ways. I didn't finish. Our productivity in our farms has continuously dropped. I mean, when I was a young boy, one could harvest maybe 40 bags of 90 kgs from 1 acre. But today they can hardly harvest 5. What we need to do, we need to understand how we can improve productivity on our farms. How could you do that? You need to know the right amount of fertilizer,
Yes.
the right amount of soil, what is the soil content, or the alkalinity, acidity. So you need to know all those things so that when you plant, you actually know precisely what you are going to harvest.
Yeah.
Now, we are planting randomly anywhere, and because of that, we are buying food from countries that are using technology to do that. So we must begin to address food security in Africa.
Yeah.
That is what President Uhuru was trying to achieve, food security.
Yes.
You cannot achieve it without technology and the farmers having access to that technology. That is number one. Number two, the area of medical, I have said a few things. There are several mistakes. Government itself must be very proactive and remove all manner of corruption. These new technologies, if you deploy them, say like in the lands ministry, you would begin to restore trust in this way. Trust is very key because it minimizes costs. If you're buying land from me and you know for sure I am not cheating you, you are comfortable. I mean, you don't get stressed. You pay, and the land belongs to you.
It's true.
Yeah. So there are so many ways the economy can benefit from these emerging technologies.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've talked about the advantages that it can do to our economy, but what are the repercussions?
Well, there is no good deed that goes unpunished. That is, somebody said that, I don't know who said it.
Many centuries.
Many centuries ago. It can cut both ways, where we may lose our privacy because all this data is coming from us.
Yes.
How much data is enough, how much data isn't enough. But people are talking about data privacy. We're building the laws around data protection. We are also telling, at the same time, you actually need that data to make decisions.
Yes.
So it is a balancing act, but others would use it in a very negative way.
It's true.
And that is where we have these cyber crimes. But the good, there is more good than the bad.
The good outweighs
Yes.
the bad.
Even very nice food can kill you if you eat too much.
Too much of everything,
Yes.
anything is bad for you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's touched on so many bigger topics that we may have to have subsequent sessions. But
Yes.
for me, I feel like we've touched on the subject of, say it's biased, then we'd have to have a lot of Kenyan inputs, and we need a lot of people to really get into that industry, join with global partners, but actually localizing. So a term that came across me.
Actually, the term we're using in that
Yes.
is that everybody must develop capacity.
Right.
We are a few steps behind with respect to building capacity in AI,
Right.
in data science,
Of course.
but we are working towards correcting the problem.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm involved with some donor groups which are trying to help young people build capacity in that space, and that would begin to help. We hopefully can do it throughout the continent of Africa.
Wow. Amazing. Powerful words. I think I've heard women empowerment there. I've heard localization. I've heard so many things that can be useful in driving this agenda. And finally, also just wanted to touch on the fact that Microsoft have set up in a big way here recently with the whole institute.
Alphabet,
yes,
yeah.
and also Google have also announced, right? I think there was an announcement recently as well.
Yeah.
So these things are all fast and coming, and it should be nice to see our youth and people in Kenya to really get engaged in this process.
It's not an accident. Africa has got the most working young people.
Very true.
The average age we have here is 19.
Yeah.
What we must do is we must equip them with the right skills so that we can get those companies to come here because we have the capacity to help in their advancement, and then we also benefit as a people.
This is a great session we've had. There's so much topics that we've touched on that we probably couldn't finish today anyways. But thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And I think we hope that you don't travel too soon or take all the calls before you travel.
No, right now I'm concentrating on taking calls.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But thank you for that session. And this is our inaugural fireside chat, we can call it, Firestarter Africa. We plan on bringing so many engagements in various fields and various topics that are concerning to us in a positive way. And we hope you'll be able to like our channel, subscribe, hit the like button, comment, and all that shenanigans that our younger people do. So
thank you.
Thank you so much.